Good evening, and this is Evenings Lalate with major breaking news about that huge ruling on reconciliation. That $1,400 third stimulus check will be landing in your bank account tomorrow, but now you could see more stimulus across the board. What the Chuck? Chuck Schumer wins in a major event for reconciliation. How many more reconciliation votes will he have for purposes of stimulus? I'll break down the major win overnight. A win that could impact your fourth stimulus check, your fifth stimulus check, and more. It's no longer a guessing game, it's now a reality. The huge breaking news across the board is detailed in this jaw-dropping recording. Meantime, how soon could those fourth stimulus of multiple stimulus checks go out the door? And how many reconciliations does Chuck Schumer have? Does he have 4 or does he have 6? And what about that to-do list that he still has to get through? I'll break down all those details across the board. In a big day in which there was so much financial news across the board, from Wall Street to Main Street, from my home to your home, it's a big night of an evening's Lalate. And let's get to it as the excitement unfolds starting right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining me on a big night of Evenings Lalate. Tomorrow morning, millions of Americans will get their $1,400 third stimulus check in their bank account. But away we go, because fourth stimulus is just around the corner. And last night, a major ruling by Chuck Schumer and those Democrats in the Senate to get not one, but several reconciliations going forward. And this impacts your fourth stimulus. How are you? Good evening. This is a jaw-dropping, developing detail. You heard it last night on Evenings Lalate. Shortly after Evenings Lalate, I went live with a special breaking news report, and tonight I have more about those details. This will change the whole playing field for stimulus. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because this is where you want to be. This is where the big money is about to land. And suddenly, everything changed overnight. Also, like this video. Let's try to do 2,000-3,000 likes. And it's birthday month on this channel, so give this channel a subscribe. I want you to become a part of this family. More importantly, also hit that membership link. I want you to join, become a member. It's also in the pinned comment. In the next few days, you're going to see a lot of new PDFs as a lot of new details are unfolded and unraveled and revealed from IRS for third stimulus, and from the president for this fourth stimulus, whether it's rent, utilities, food, internet, childcare, or the incredible student loan debt forgiveness. There's a lot of things happening. You don't want to miss them. Let's cut right now to the breaking, developing details tonight. Tonight, Chuck Schumer has with him an incredible development. And the incredible development is the following. In the last week, I told you that quietly, without much news fanfare, Chuck Schumer had applied to the Senate parliamentarian to ask whether he can amend a prior reconciliation bill with a subsequent reconciliation bill. I told you there's a 50-50 chance of him winning it. I also explained that the third stimulus package bill that just became law was actually using a 2020 leftover reconciliation that the Democrats had not used, so that they have one new one for this year, one in the fall, and away we go. Well, the Senate parliamentarian ruled in Chuck Schumer's favor. This is a shocking development. Let me show you the graphic on how this works. In 2020, the Democrats had a reconciliation to use. They didn't use it last year because they were waiting for the Biden administration to come in. And they used it in January this year for the third stimulus check, which you get tomorrow. Well, they had one left for this spring session of Congress, the new 2021 reconciliation, and they had one for September. They have one in the spring and one in the fall every year. Well, the second line shows the major surprise ruling by the parliamentarian yesterday that for first stimulus, the Democrats can go back and amend the third stimulus package for another reconciliation. In essence, you can amend a prior reconciliation with a later reconciliation. This ruling came out of nowhere and surprised millions of Americans across the board. What the shock suddenly surprised viewers. The parliamentarian said Senator Schumer was exactly correct, that his reading and his understanding of the of the bylaws of the Senate were exactly correct. So what does this mean? It means that he has now gotten a major reconciliation win. That major reconciliation win could pay you thousands of dollars. How much money are we talking about? Here's the numbers. If they were to do multiple stimulus checks and have them go out in the month of July at $2,000 a month, this would be $12,000 per viewer of this channel. That's for adult dependents and for children, for single individuals, and anyone who makes less than $75,000 a year. If the stimulus check was $1,400 a month, it would be $8,400. This is huge sums of money, and the Democrats want to do it. And Chuck Schumer wants to do it as well. It's among the items on Chuck Schumer's to-do list, and that to-do list is now becoming closer to a reality. That to-do list starts with multiple stimulus checks. How often? How soon? How do they work? Let's go over the to-do list. First, the Democrats have vowed that the fourth stimulus, when it lands in the Senate, will get amended in the vote-a-rama. That fourth stimulus will feature monthly stimulus checks, MSC. And those monthly stimulus checks would go from the point at which the bill becomes law all the way to December. That's how we get this enormous sum of money. And if it seems like it's not a reality, it will be a reality. 21 of 50 Democrats want this to get out the door. And they have vowed to amend the bill when it gets to the Senate. The president's likely to support it because the president's willing privately to give children $65,000 over 18 years. The president's has considered extending the child tax credit for 18 years. So newborn child to age 18 will get $300 a month. Clearly, $65,000 is a lot more than a mere $8,000 to an individual. The incredible great news is that this is one of the many to-do lists that the Democrats are trying to get to the finish line. FPUC retro still remains a push, according to Ron Wyden. If the viewers of this channel can get Ron Wyden and other Democratic senators to support it, they would come back and pay that unpaid FPUC from July to December of last year. SSI reform still remains on table. SSI reform could take many different forms. One could be by executive order, where the CPIE where your benchmark is changed. It does not need a bill. It does not need an act of Congress, but it could. It could be simply, however, done by just executive order, where the CPIE is the new benchmark, not COLA, and that the increases for some could be effectuated by Social Security Administration. Hazard pay was the rallying cry of the president during his campaign run. And that rallying cry could become a reality under fourth stimulus package. Fourth stimulus could include, in additional to MSC, also hazard pay. How much hazard pay? In 2020, Nancy Pelosi wanted to pay $13 an hour for everyone who works during that hazard pay. So would it be retro or going forward? It remains to be seen. Also on the to-do list is minimum wage and its raise across the board. If you look at the reconciliations, here's how many they have left to use this year. They have fourth stimulus, which is happening right now. That's the infrastructure bill. The fourth stimulus check would be the amending of the third stimulus package. And then they have a new reconciliation they would have to use before now and the August recess of Congress. And then in September, they would have a sixth stimulus package. Would the sixth stimulus package have stimulus checks? My belief is it would, because they want to have stimulus checks go out to Americans while they're going into the midterm elections to vote. And if those 6 stimulus checks landed in the fall and continued in the spring, then millions of Americans who are about to vote next year for the midterm elections would give the real push the Democrats need. The day started with the news that one Democratic House member had passed, sadly, and that now reduced the margin of victory for the control by Democrats in the House even narrower. Meantime, what's happening tomorrow? Well, across the board tomorrow, that other item is landing. That $1,400 third stimulus check lands tomorrow. And as that $1,400 third stimulus check lands, the question is, how soon could the refocus already be on fourth stimulus? Fourth stimulus heated up on Monday as a series of questions unfolded about its routing times and about its deal provisions. At issue remains the number one topic for broadcast news to cover, which is the issue of taxes. The question is whether the corporate tax rate will derail the bill or find commonality among the Democrats. A series of comments were exchanged on Monday, and let me go through each of them at the moment. This comment was by Joe Manchin. As the bill exists today, it needs to be changed. What did Joe Manchin want to change in the bill? He doesn't like the corporate tax rate. Senator Manchin is looking at the corporate tax rate before the Trump administration. It was in the 35% range. In the 2017 tax amendment, a tax bill, the Trump administration dropped the corporate tax rate to 21%. That's where it currently sits now. The Biden fourth stimulus package proposes it to go to 28%. Manchin says it should never have gone to 21, that's too low. Rather, it should have stayed at 25%, which according to Manchin is the worldwide average. Not particularly accurate, I can tell you, because the worldwide average in many countries is 10%, half of where we are even now at 21%, which prompted yesterday Janet Yellen to issue this news statement. We're working with G20 countries around the globe to increase their minimum corporate tax rate so we can stop the race to the bottom. This is huge for a lot of different reasons, whether it's multiple stimulus checks or just understanding the corporate battle. The issue at hand is the following, that the race to the bottom refers to the big issue across the board about whether corporations in the United States will leave us and take jobs elsewhere if our corporate rate goes higher, and they'll go to countries across the globe where the corporate rate is lower for taxes. Well, what Janet Yellen's saying basically is that she will ask the G20 countries to raise their corporate tax rate. Will they listen? Absolutely not. It makes no sense. No foreign country is going to listen to a secretary and a secretary of treasury in another country to raise their corporate tax rate. But what really is at issue is where should the corporate tax rate land for purposes of getting the bill done? You and I want this fourth stimulus bill done. And is Manchin the commonality ground? It appears seems logical. If Manchin's argument is true, which many may say it's not, that the corporate tax rate should be 25%, then the president should drop the bill to 25%, not be at 28%, and get Manchin to agree. Here's what you need to know, is that the big issue across the board is those multiple stimulus checks. Lots of money, and lots of money quickly. But what's also important for you to understand is that over the weekend, the president was talking about doing bipartisanship for purposes of the bill. That bipartisanship doesn't help you because no Republican wants to give a multiple stimulus check, let alone a single stimulus check. But let me read to you the surprising, shocking details that unfolded with last night's ruling about this modifying a prior reconciliation with a later. Now, at issue is whether all Democrats will get on board. And of course, the big question always is Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, and Kristen Sinema, Democrat out of Arizona. Senate Budget Chairman Bernie Sanders reacted to the news last night with the following statement. He said it's important because it gives us a little more flexibility for preparing legislation. In other words, Sanders said, right now what this new reconciliation package is about is dealing with long-term structural problems. Sanders added that everybody knows our physical infrastructure is collapsing. We want to create millions of jobs transform our energy system away from fossil fuel, we also have to deal with human infrastructure. What's human infrastructure? By all accounts, he's referring to those multiple stimulus checks. Remember, Sanders is the one who prepared the letters to write to the president to do those multiple stimulus checks. And here Sanders is talking about human infrastructure. Sanders also said it's a very good step, but we still have to work on all the details. Schumer issued the following statement last night. It's an important step forward that this key pathway is available to Democrats if needed. Schumer had more to say about those details as well. Also speaking out last night was another person who has proposed multiple stimulus checks and FPUC retro, and that's Ron Wyden. What did Ron Wyden say to the news last night? I'm pleased with the parliamentarians' ruling that the budget reconciliations can be revised, allowing us to move forward additional bills through the reconciliation process. The American people want bold action to address our country's many challenges, and Democrats now have more options to overcome Republican obstructions to get things done. And then there was the other reaction across the board, both from insiders and also from Schumer's camp. The surprise of this ruling came out of left field. Many didn't think it was going to pass. As I had told viewers this channel, there was a 50-50 chance of this ever becoming a reality. But when it was announced late on Monday, which was a very quick, sudden ruling that also no one expected to come that soon, the reaction was euphoria. Let me explain some of the statements last night. The ruling was heralded by Schumer's team, which told CNN that the parliamentarian has advised that a revised budget resolution may contain budget reconciliation instructions. This confirms the leader's interpretation of the Budget Act and allows Democrats additional tools to improve the lives of Americans if Republicans' obstruction continues. While no decision has been made on the legislative path forward using Section 304 and some parameters still need to be worked on, the parliamentarian's opinion is an important step forward that this key pathway is available to Democrats if needed, said spokesperson Justin Goodman in a statement last night. How strong and how quickly could these stimulus checks go out the door? And why is it important to get these stimulus checks done now rather than later? Of all those breaking details and more about what's happening in this massive push for forced stimulus out the door as quickly as possible, as Evenings Lalate returns in 60 seconds. Stay with me for more. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then Afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings Lalate. Join me tonight on Hazard Pay, which is 90 minutes from now. Boy, what a big night as forced stimulus and multiple stimulus checks now have a reality that no one saw coming out of left field. Thank you for joining me on a big night. Are you excited? I'm certainly excited. I'm in the live chat, so say hi. Hi, how are you? It's a big night across the board, and I'm so excited you have joined me. Boy, it is one of those nights where there is so much happening, and I don't want you to miss a single thing across the board. Whether it is the exciting great news tonight about that reconciliation or those stimulus checks landing tomorrow, there's so much happening and I don't want you to miss anything. So say hi, I'm in the live chat. Also, subscribe. Boy, it's birthday month on this channel. Give this channel a subscribe and away we go into forced stimulus. Don't miss a beat. Don't go on vacation. Don't go to the casino and just take a nap there. Stay with me because there is a lot of money about to hit, a lot more than $1,400. Also, like this video. If you've not become a member, the member link is in the pinned comment to this video and also at the top of the chat. Casino VIP, Purple Power, or Purple Hawk. Let's go back to the shocking development about this reconciliation and these multiple stimulus checks. First, let's look at these numbers again. These numbers are a reality. The potential of getting stimulus checks out the door in July would give the following sums of money if they got this to the door. $12,000 if it's $2,000 a month, or $8,400 if it's $1,400 a month. This is for single individuals. This is for children, for adult dependents. And this would be every month, coming in the month from IRS to your Direct Express by Comerica card, or to the mail, or to a direct deposit account. Yes, you would be able to update your account before this happens. So everyone that has a question about whether that account is this or that, you could update all your depository accounts. Now, the last time we heard anything like this was in 2020, when then Senator Harris proposed a separate debit card that you would get from Treasury that would just be replenished with money every month, sort of like an unemployment card. So you wouldn't have to look for anything. It would just get replenished every month with stimulus. That's likely my concept and my thought process of how this would work. Now, the President of the United States continues to be answering questions of whether countries will leave this United States if the tax rate goes too high. But as you saw earlier in this video, the real push is not so much to fix other countries, but to fix this bill. And if Manchin thinks that the corporate rate should be at 25%, get it done at 25% and get the bill out the door. This is not the final stimulus. Rather, this would be one of two more before the summer break. So they have a lot of room to get a lot of stimulus out the door. Again, this would be the fourth stimulus in the next few weeks, and then fifth stimulus could be done by the end of the Senate session. It would have to be done by the end of the Senate session because it expires. Now, I don't know if the Democrats are going to try to use the fifth stimulus in the fall and keep the sixth one for next year, but this is where we are. Again, here's our to-do list: multiple stimulus checks, FPUC retro, SSI reform, hazard pay, and minimum wage. A lot of stuff to do. And let's cut back to the reaction and the news reports of what this incredible ruling meant for Americans. A Democratic senator with familiarity with the parliamentarian's ruling told CNN last night that there was no doubt that this was good news. This was just the opening salvo in what will be a long process, but there's a great deal that needs to be worked on, said the insider. Biden said that he would invite Republicans to the White House. The divisions of the moment shouldn't stop us from doing the right thing for the future, said the president. Ultimately, you don't want the president to do this bill other than by reconciliation. Why? Because Republicans won't give a stimulus check. And as the bill needs, as it stands today, it needs to be changed, said Manchin on Monday. But that's as to the 25%. Wyden's heralding of the bill's success is one of 21 Democrats who want that monthly stimulus check. I'm pleased with the parliamentarian's ruling that the budget reconciliations can be revised, allowing us to move additional bills through the reconciliation process. The American people want bold action to address the situation across the board. Very, very exciting news across the land. Meantime, there was other big news today, and I will touch on those details right now. What's important to understand is that America is starting to reopen. And as America reopens, the question is, where is that stimulus and where is the other checks landing? And as checks land, where will people spend the money in the next few days? As money will land in bank accounts tomorrow, the question is, where will the money be spent and how soon will it be spent? And when will the money need to be replenished? Here's what you need to know going into tomorrow morning. Mark Tepper, who's a CEO of Strategic Wealth Partners, says that he thinks that Vegas is on fire and that this is where you need to focus on for purposes of the U.S. securities. He thinks that airline stocks and Vegas stocks and casino stocks could go up dramatically. Las Vegas accounts for 40% of MGM's total revenue, and those shares have been hit dramatically during the pandemic, but have now rallied ever since. Airline tickets from Cleveland to Las Vegas have quadrupled in the last few months, Tapper says. My boots on the ground research informs me that the pool party staffs of the hotels have been rehiring. They're getting ready for an influx of people right now. You got great sports club exposure. You got fantastic properties. Vegas is going to be one of the first places that the conferences come back to. Understand that Vegas conferences account for an enormous amount of revenue for not just Vegas, but also for the industries. And that a Michael Baptist, managing director of Vios Advisors, says at Rockefeller Capital that Vegas is going to be one of the first places to get conferences back to normal. Meantime, do you want a new job? Well, out of a surprise, out of nowhere, in an industry that rarely hires, United Airlines announced today that you can become a pilot. Can you imagine this one? United Airlines says that plans to train 5,000 people to become pilots, even if you have no prior flight experience. United Airlines started accepting applications for its flight academy today, part of a push to hire 10,000 pilots by 2030. And this is very important because they have to push certain pilots out the door because of a federally mandated retirement age of 65. These flight schools require no experience. So if you want to be a flight attendant, away you go. Meantime, great news about the elderly, as a new CDC report today reveals that 75% of Americans 65 years or older have at least one vaccine shot, says Dr. Walensky. Also, the president announced today that he will drop the vaccine age for all adults to April 19th. He was originally supposed to make all U.S. adults eligible on May 1st. He's moving it up to April 19th. And then $10,200, yes, that $10,200 of unemployment that is going to be refunded back to you if you already paid your taxes and paid taxes on unemployment. A new report from CNBC reports that in some cases, maybe you should file an amended return to request the money back because it may be underpriced or undervalued by IRS when they do the calculation. Finally, a new report out today says that there is concern about how fast money could be flying. And as we go into April, there is a new series of reports that says there's a lot of pent-up money, and that pent-up money could be spent in places you never saw before. But let me give you the big recap of where we are tonight. Last Friday, a final round of stimulus checks, third stimulus checks, were sent out. On Friday, the IRS tool updated itself. And tomorrow on Wednesday, those deposits will be made available. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or Railroad benefits, if you are on the Direct Express by Comerica card, the deposit will be available. If you do not see the deposit available tomorrow, then consider the following factors. One, do you have a representative payee? If you do, they have your stimulus check. Are you a dependent on someone else's tax return? If you do, they have your stimulus check. If you got your first and second stimulus check fine and are not getting the third stimulus check on fine, why do you think the situation may be at hand? If you're expecting to buy direct deposit, you need to check the mail because ultimately that may be where the mail is. And for mail checks this week, the effective date is the end of this week. Meantime, those March 26 checks are still coming. Mail checks, those April 2nd to 5th checks are still coming. They're about a few days late. And we still have not seen the effective date for those April 9th checks. If you're a consumer with the following banks, Chime, Cash App, Green Dot, NetSpend, MetaBank, H&R Block, and TurboTax, and you've not seen the deposit by the time of this recording, you are likely to get that stimulus check in the mail because these banks made the funds available last Friday for this coming Wednesday's deposit. Will there be another wave of stimulus checks? Hard to say at the moment. Veterans were included in this current wave of stimulus checks, and their deposits are landing tomorrow as well. So away we go. The big push now is for stimulus. As we focus on the big money that's happening across the land, the big question is, how soon could this fourth stimulus land? Millions of Americans, whether we're hearing about a corporate tax battle or we're hearing about other items, the big push is MSC. There is a big to-do list, and Purple Power, you need to do your thing. Take this video and share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram. Tag your Democratic senators with the hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. Push, push, push Purple Power. Get this video seen, because this is where the big push is now. This is where the singularly biggest push is right now. This is what you need to know. You do not want the bill to go by bipartisanship, because the Republicans won't give you stimulus checks. You want this bill to go by recon. And by recon, this is what you need to know. It takes 2 months to do a recon. So you need this bill into the Senate as soon as possible. Second, the economy is booming, and you don't want the economy rebounded before the bill gets in the Senate. So you want it there as soon as possible. Together as a family, we'll be watching the unfolding, developing details tomorrow. It's going to be a big, exciting day. But for now, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. I want you to be part of this family, and together we're going to get to the finish line. And tomorrow, we're there. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you in 90 minutes from now on Hazard Pay.